Let's take a closer look at the ArtFX Ahsoka Tano Escape from the Clones pre-painted model kit by Kotobukiya.
Varykino, living the Star Wars life.
Hello there, and thanks for visiting the Varykino YouTube channel. Today I'm going to take a closer look at this amazing Ahsoka Tano pre-painted model kit from the ArtFX line by Kotobukiya. As you can see, it depicts Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars Series 7. It is described as Escape from the Clones. If you are familiar with Kotobukiya, you will know that their statues come in a pre-painted model kit form. They are generally made of plastic and they come in pieces that you snap together to form the statue. So you don't need to worry about glue or paint. It's all done. You just need to click the pieces together. So before I open it up and take a closer look, let's look at the box. Of course, we have this fantastic photo of the statue here on the front. We can see a very determined Ahsoka Tano in a really unique pose with her lightsabers wide. I think this looks amazing. And we've got this hot orange base here. If we turn the box to the side, we can see another image of the statue here. We can see that fantastic wide lightsaber pose, and we can see that the base ends in a hard half circle shape there. Now, if you're wondering if that's a little bit quirky, that is because this statue forms a complete circle when assembled beside the Captain Rex statue, which is sold separately. Of course, this is a fantastic scene. I really want to put this on display, but I made sure that I got Ahsoka first for my collection, and then I'm going to have to save up for the accompanying Captain Rex. As it notes here, ArtFX, Captain Rex, Escape from the Clones is not included. You do need to put the two together to form a complete circle. They're kind of back to back, so if you want Ahsoka facing forward, you get the back of Rex, and vice versa. So for me, because I knew that I wanted Ahsoka facing forward, this was definitely the priority. And here we have a really poignant scene of Ahsoka here from the show. Then if I turn it around to the side, we can see another angle of the statue. We can see this cool pose, and we can see that hard edge across the back and this curved circle front. So I'm very, very excited. As you can see, there are no windows to these. Some of the older Kotobukiya figures had big windows at the front so you could see all the pieces, but in this modern era, they are completely windowless. It reminds me of the Gentle Giant style of packaging, especially these black boxes with these corner grey accents. So let's get stuck in and take a look inside. Okay, so the top of this box has some tape on it. So I've got my scissors here and I'm going to open these ones up. I'm very excited. It's been a while since I've added a Kotobukiya statue to my collection. I certainly had a lot of them in those early years when they did Bounty Hunters and Princess Leia. I love the Yoda and the Biker Scout ones in particular from that early era. They changed sizes and formats a few times, and I didn't collect the smaller scale that they did. So I'm very excited to see them going back into a slightly larger format. So I'm going to have to lie this box down and slide this out so we can take a look. Very cool. So I'm just going to pop the box here to the side so I can take a look, and we can see all the pieces here. It kind of looks like an exploded character. So if I turn it around, we can kind of see all of the painted components here, all stored away in the plastic. I have to note, these ones do have a plastic smell to them because they are that kind of just that type of plastic that does have that particular scent to it, but it does diminish fairly quickly once all assembled and on your shelf. So I think I'm just going to see if there's any sellotape on this. I think it might just pop off. Let's have a see. Oh, we've got some tape here on the side. I'll just take this off and see if we can get this out, and we can take a closer look. Now, if it's anything like these statues I've had in the past, the pieces do fit together very, very nicely. It is, you know, something that they are known for. So I'm hoping that will be the case in this modern era as well. there we go. Got that one out of the way. And each piece is all wrapped up individually in protective plastic. I can see some foam in there to keep some of the pieces from touching while in the box. I like that. There is a deeper tray, which is also sellotaped down. I've just got to do some sellotape removal here as well. Just got to get in between these layers because that base, I definitely want to get the base out first so that I've got something to start assembling these on. The base feels quite sturdy. When I'm holding it up, I can feel the weight of it. So this should be quite a solid structure. So here we have the, oh, we've got another layer of plastic. Oh, plastic film, okay. Here. Interesting noises. There we go, got that out of the way. Now I can take out the base. You can see the base here. You can see some of that topper design with the orange markings there. I'll get this out. Oh, this looks so cool. Okay, I can see the pegs here. We will be assembling some of the pieces. We can see the sort of molten edge and the way it's bubbling up over the top. I think this looks really cool. And we can see it's just a nice straight black edge there. So even if you want to just have Ahsoka by herself, it doesn't necessarily look incomplete or awkward. It just looks like a nice tidy back edge that you can put facing towards the back of your shelf. I think that looks really nice. So then I've got the lightsaber blades in here. Hopefully they'll just pop out. They're kind of stuck in here a little bit. Got one and we've got the other. We've got an instruction sheet here as well. So it shows basically, you know, which blades go in which is always really useful because as you're familiar, Ahsoka has one very long lightsaber blade and one shorter one that she generally holds in her left arm and right arm. So it's nice and clear. You don't need to try and remember that as you're assembling this yourself. So I'm going to take out these pieces one by one. We've got the lower figure here. I don't know what's going to be easier, whether I'm just going to assemble these to the base as I go. I might do that. Let's see. So we've got pegs on the bottom of the feet here and a slot. And if it's anything like the Kotobukiya of older, it will just snap very nicely into place. I know that looks a little odd with the legs, but you can see that wasn't too hard. They snap in perfectly. There is like almost nothing seen between that plastic and the sculpt. That is really nice, and it's nice and sturdy. I can hold that like that. That's not going anywhere, but I feel like I could disassemble this if I needed to put it away somewhere. So next up, let's go with the torso. We've got this in its own little protective bag as well. So we can see it's got a shaped peg here. So we're going to put this one into place here. And hopefully this will snap down with a little bit of force. It just needs to be snapped in just a little bit tighter. Wriggle that one in. I think that one's in pretty well. Have to just put a little bit of pressure on it. I might see if I can get that one just to meet a little bit tighter at the front later on, but there's that one. Of course, these things you can just do a little bit of adjusting once it's all together. Oh, this is interesting. The back part of Ahsoka's Chagruta montrals are separate, which is interesting. We've got a little bit of foam here so that that doesn't touch her cheek there. I think that that's nice. I like the extra packaging. So I'm just going to pop this down because I want to put the back part onto her head before I snap that into place. This is interesting. It's all in segments, so we can see we've got the peg here. Just going to see how well this one snaps into place. Bit of a tight push. This one's definitely going to take a little bit of wriggling to get this one into the right spot. That one's a bit of a tighter fit. I'm having to press pretty firmly on her face, which makes me a little bit anxious. Okay, I've got that one. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of adjustment once I've got everything together, but that one's on there, and let's see how easily this one's going to go in. Okay, that one snapped into place pretty well. Bit of adjusting to go, and then we've got her arms here. I'll just take these out, then we can move this big tray out of the way. And this one. And then I'll put the blades on last. So let's get this tray out of the way, and we can get everything all together. And so we've got the instructions. So we've got, this one is her left arm with the shorter blade. That fits in very nicely. Let's see, we can get, generally have quite well-shaped pegs so that we can see the right angles. I might actually just take her head off because that's a little bit precarious. I can see what I'm doing a little bit better here. So I just can push this peg in. You can hear that creaking. That's in there very nicely. And then we've got her other arm. I'm going to put the lightsaber blade in on this one. That clips in very nicely. And we can see this one. It's actually got an R on the base. Don't know how well that's going to show up on the base peg there. So you know this is her right arm. And the peg has a shape that fits in well here. Very tight, very tight. Definitely a little tighter than I remember some of the older ones. I think that's in fairly well. A little bit of adjustment there. Still wish I could get that torso just seated a little bit further down. But I'm just definitely going to do a little bit of adjusting once I get everything into place, because I don't want to put this one back in the box. I'm definitely going to have this one on display. Just going to try and make sure I get this into position. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of adjusting. We'll get all the packaging cleared out and we can take a closer look at this amazing detail. So here I have the Ahsoka statue all assembled. I took a moment just to make sure all of those pieces were fitting snugly together. So now let's take a closer look at the assembled statue. And I have to say, I loved the promotional photos, and the statue just absolutely exceeds my expectations. This thing is really beautiful. The use of plastic for this kind of sets it apart from some of my other pieces, like those from Gentle Giant. You just get some really fine detail that I just don't see very often in those sort of polystone and resin formats. Particularly when I look at the lightsaber hilts here, there is just such fine detail here. It almost looks like these are made out of silver metal, but they're not, they're just plastic. They are sculpted into the hand, so you don't need to assemble those yourself. And the ends of the blades are pointed. I really like that. They're almost sharp. I like that on these lightsabers. The base is really quite cool. I like this melted metal edge. Of course, this is all plastic, but it just gives that real sort of metal effect. We've got a weathering paint job here on the base, particularly on the white and yellow parts. I like that. Now the segmented detail on her armor, it's a little hard to show, but it looks like they've built it out of small pieces and sort of glued it together, because there are just these tiny little just differences in the sculpting that it's just really hard to do. There's just these, it makes it look real because it looks like armor over a boot, not just all sculpted together. And you can kind of see that there's like these little gaps here between her boot and her armor that just make it look real. Looks like she's wearing something rather than it being all one piece. We've got some really nice fine detail work on her skirt section here. And we've got the same nice paint work on her hip armor. We've got a little bit of sort of weathering on the back here, just to sort of give it that battle damaged effect that I really quite like. And of course her face. I really love the expression on this piece. She looks determined, and I particularly like, it's just a very good likeness of the animated style Ahsoka. Sometimes with the alien faces in collectibles, they just end up being a little bit sort of generic. This one is definitely very, very true to Ahsoka's face and Ahsoka's expression as well. I think they've done a really good job here. In particular, I like the fact that her eyes are glossy. That's one of the aspects of the Hot Toys 12-inch figures that I really like. Their eyes always look so real. And the detail here, of course, she is an animated character, so she's not going to have, you know, true lifelike eyes, but these look real for the animated style, just that little bit of gloss. And even looking up really close, the paintwork here, she's got really fine paint lines around her eyes and that facial markings there. And of course, her dark lips. I think this is just absolutely amazing. I love the curve of her montrals and leku here. It gives a real movement to the character. They're generally quite straight in a lot of collectibles. I like the shape here. And of course, because we had to attach this back piece on, it was separate, we've got this really tight hugging around the back, which of course makes sense, you know, because this is a heavier part of her montral head sort of shape there. And yeah, I'm just so happy it all fit together nicely, you know, with just a little bit of pushing, but I do like it when these things fit together a little snug. Not that I'm really wrestling with the plastic and trying to sort of deform any of the pegs, trying to get them in there, but they are a good, nice, tight fit. So once they sort of snap and just have that little extra nudge, they're in there rock solid, and this thing isn't going to come apart. I like the stance and the proportions of the pose of the character to the base. There are some items in my collection where I feel the base is a little too large for the figure, and it ends up taking a lot of space on my shelf for really the scale of the figure, and other ones are a little small and I always feel like it's a little bit disproportionate. I feel like for the pose of this one and the size of the base, it's a good balance. I don't feel like the base is too small or too big. It's just the right size for this one. And of course, I would love to see it with the Rex. You know, fingers crossed I'll be able to add that one to my collection not too far away. But for now, I think she looks amazing, and I really do hope that I can find a pride of place spot for her very soon. I've got a pretty full Ahsoka collection on my shelf now, but I'm going to have to wiggle some space in there because this one deserves to be right at the front. She's absolutely beautiful. We'll have some photos on the blog soon because the detail on this is just absolutely stunning. I really like all that fine detail work. I can't fault it. There's no blotches of paint. You know, there wasn't any sort of excess plastic somewhere that really made fitting it together a problem. It looks amazing, and I'm really, really happy with it. Absolutely 10 out of 10 on this one. I love it. Thank you so much for watching my unboxing and review of the Kotobukiya Ahsoka Tano Escape from the Clones Snap Fit statue. As you can probably tell, I absolutely love this one. Honestly, I don't think I could rank this one any higher. It is just absolutely beautiful. I love it. Probably my absolute favorite Clone Wars Ahsoka piece in my collection to date. I just love this thing so much, and I could probably go on for ages about how much I love the paintwork, the sculpting, just the entire execution of this piece. I'm just smiling looking at it. I'm just so happy to have this in my collection. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next video, and as always, may the Force be with you.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. Check out our other videos and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.